Well, joining me here on set now is Charlotte Minvielle, who's at heart a Green candidate, but stood therefore as the candidate for Jean-Luc Melenchon's far-left alliance in these elections. She represents French people living out of France, but in Northern Europe. Thanks very much for joining us on the programme. Let's clear up your personal situation first. I've checked the results. You're through to the second round, but you were beaten by the candidate for Emmanuel Macron's Ensemble grouping, 38% to 31%. Do you think you personally have a chance of overturning that and potentially even making it to the Assemblée Nationale in a week's time?
Definitely. I think there's a real chance. There's actually a 20% drop for the outgoing MP from compared to 2017. He was at about 57% in the first round last time. So it's a huge increase in terms of our position, and I think it's only a few thousand votes away. So I think what we need is people to mobilize, and we've actually seen, because we have some results compared to the first round of the vote online, and actually there's been an increased participation in this second round. So totally, I think it's very doable, and I think also the results of the elections at the national level last night have given optimism and the possibility of real change for a society that's greener and more focused on social justice.
Yeah, as I said to you right at the top there, you're at heart a Green candidate. Do you not feel, though, that there's a bit of deception here, that people perhaps who've voted or wanted to vote for you for green policies are not really going to get what they are voting for, because Jean-Luc Melenchon is not necessarily green policies and not necessarily right up there in his mind?
Well, actually, I think our common program, is very strong on environmental issues. It's the strongest program out there, and it will really enable us to drive systemic societal changes that we need. You know, the IPCC reports tell us we have 3 years to act to really change the situation in terms of climate change at the moment, and our common ground is on the environmental and social justice. So I think that actually voting for Alliance and voting for me definitely represent those green values as well.
You don't think there's any fear, though, that Jean-Luc Melenchon will just do what he wants to do, assuming he gets the power that he wants, and basically ignore his partners? Because the percentage of people who actually might have voted Green is going to be relatively small, isn't it?
No, I think not at all. You know, I think the alliance is very respectful of each party's identity, and actually, once we win, we'll sit in a parliamentary group that will reflect our political party. So in my case, it would be within a Green Party parliamentary group. We need 15 MPs to be able to form a group. So I think that will be very clear that we all have our identities. We might not always vote the same, but in a big majority of the cases, we'll vote in the order of trying to counter some of the policies that are being put in place by the government currently.
When do you think these extra voters for Jean-Luc Melenchon's alliance are coming from? I mean, there's been a traditional thought, hasn't there, that a lot of the voters are from poorer areas of the country. But actually, if you look at those poor areas, the turnout actually was incredibly low. So the voters are coming from somewhere else, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're coming from all over. I think the trend shows that actually we've had almost the same number of votes, or maybe even the same number of votes as the current majority. So I think they're coming really from all over. But there's much more that we need to do to mobilize people, because the turnout has been very low, and I think that's symptomatic of the fact that the president hasn't really taken into consideration very strongly these elections. He hasn't really campaigned. But we really see it as a third round, of the presidential elections, because the parliament is really the most important election. They vote laws. There's the possibility of forming a new government. So I think we really need to mobilize across all demographics.
Charlotte Melenchon, stay with us. I know you're going to come back and talk to us in a little while here on France 24, but